in the 9s here. Very surprised. Oh, if we don't see them in the 9s, and that's what happens when you get this track wrong around here. You really do damage your car. Strauss keeps going, however. He won't be up anymore. And no, he isn't. Tobias Schlemo is the championship leader, and he's just got into second place on the grid at the moment, provisional at the moment. 30 minutes left in this qualifying session. We'll have a 5-minute warm-up after that. Jesper Tolborg is about to start his hot lap. Very slowly around the back part of the circuit, trying to save his tyres. Now driving aggressively at the end of the lap, trying to get some pressures into those. Comes out onto the straight. Background there, that was Chris Snipes, just getting out of shape. Coming out of that final corner. Final corner is quite difficult to get the power down because it's so curved on exit. You have to regulate the throttle pedal. What Jesper can do is he flicks his way through these chicanes on this wonderful street circuit. Palmer now up into 4th position already. Talbot there into 7th. Now is still 5th as a result of him not being able to complete any of those sessions, and Talbot gets into the wall on the exit of the hairpin. We got live timing, and you can find the live timing link on our Facebook. Excuse me, as Schlemo goes faster than anybody with 10.475. Go to our Facebook, which is facebook.com/TouringProSeries. Find a link on there to the live timing. You can follow the race both on the live broadcast and through that live timing app. And thanks to Live Races for that. Wonderful app it is as well, very colourful indeed. Jesper Tolborg going very, very quickly here, was fantastic through that double chicane. It's right over the curb at the final corner. What has he got for the end of the lap? Strauss is up into 2nd. Jesper, will he go fastest? And Jesper does go fastest. Jesper goes on to pole position at the moment. So it's Tolborg from Schlemo, from Strauss, from Johnson, from Levesque, Tveit, Palmer, Leitner. So the top 4 are the expected contenders. Strauss is now a quarter of a second up on Tolborg in that first sector, but he's obviously made a mistake somewhere because he just quit out of that. He's out on track at the moment. Here is James Johnson. He's been very, very close this season to winning a race, but not quite able to do so just yet. See what he's got for the rest of the drivers. Very short lap here, using the shorter version of this Surfers Paradise circuit. And in the background there is Jesper Tolborg, pushing far too hard into the corner. And he exits from the track. There's Florence Strauss now coming out of the pits. Very narrow pit exit here, as you can see. Right down the side. You have to really keep your car in between those, and you join right back onto the racing line as well. Looks quite dangerous, but actually works quite well. There was Ruslan Baramkulov. I guess on the roads. Not quite sure which one that will be. Being Brankolov, because Rhodes is on a hot lap at the moment. Strauss just gets out of the way there of Eike Roding. Eric Tveit. Showing gaining speed throughout this season. And he's got the consistency yet. Is another thing to be mentioned as he just runs slightly wide of the curb there at the final turn. Twitch as he gets a power on also as well. Light drives to the line. He's not going to improve his time at all. And Palmer in a good 7th place at the moment. Leitner there in 8th. George Talbot, here he is. About to finish a lap very sideways out of there, following his sister teammate Steve Davis. George comes for the line now. Will he improve? No, he doesn't. He stays in that 9th position. 10th place, Adam Egby. 11th place is Eike Roding. 12th is Steve Davis. Straight on goes George Talbot. 13th place is Shannon Blum. 14th place is Gary Lennon. He's struggling slightly at the moment. He has shown good pace during pre-practice. 15th was Jeff Dobbins. 16th is Giuseppe Churchio. 17th here is Anders Nielsen. Looking to improve on that as well, but he's struggling of late. Fastest drivers in pre-practice been Strauss, Tolborg, followed by Schlemo, Leitner, Lennon, Levesque. Levesque even, sorry. I've been corrected on that, so it's William Levesque, not William Levesque, or Levesque. So, third time look at that. 7th place, fastest in pre-practice was Blonde with 8, Johnson, Egbeer and Tveit. So that was the form coming into the event, into this qualifying. It's not borne out quite that way at the moment. Go back through the field. We've got David Johnson 18th, 19th Levan, 20th Mirvol, 21st Berancolo, 22nd is Vinari, 23rd is Richard Coleman, sporting a new livery for these final few rounds of the season. 24th is Alexander Rhodes. 25th here is Roy Magnez. Missed out his livery at the Phillip Island event, but there is his livery now in all its splendour. So I hope you're satisfied by that. Now, Roy, we've had a look at your very, very nice livery, it has to be said. Reminds me of the Chickadee livery back in the 1980s. The Talborg. Still the fastest of anybody so far. Goes through this fast chicane. He's gone straight onto the fast chicane as well. We'll have to slow down and forfeit this lap. Now out of the way for Steve Davis. 7th place now is Leitner. Off the track goes. That's Lee Palmer. I couldn't quite see who that was. Here is Strauss now then. On this bumpy street, so as you can see, very, very bumpy. Lots of waves, lots of elevation changes. Very, very tough challenge for the drivers. Dyker Roding is finding out, even on these sprint tyres. During warm-up, I will go through and give the viewers a look at this track on board with myself. We were using a 360 pad, and we'll have no sound and no feedback, so apologies if I crash quite a lot on that lap, but I will try and show the viewers exactly the lap. And Strauss goes fastest with a 10.084. He didn't look like he was anywhere near going faster on that lap with the split time he had after the third sector, but he has gone faster. That's fantastic lap there from Strauss. So 10.0. We are expecting to see a 9 at some point now. A 9.4 is the fastest we've seen in pre-practice. We've seen several 9.7s, 9.8, so I would expect to see a 9 at some point. Currently it's Strauss who's on pole position. He's on another hot lap here. Let's stay with him. Oh, he's pushed too hard through the fast chicane once again. Pushing very, very hard here, of course, on these qualifying laps. And he's 2 tenths down as a result. Talborg's on a lap also as well. Doesn't seem to be improving though. Jesper comes towards the line. David Yunt improves. Goes from 10th to 5th. Fantastic there for him. And Talborg does go fastest. Talborg, a 9.955. There is the 9 that we were looking for. Talborg takes pole position at the moment. Second place is Florian Strauss. Third place is Tobias Schlemmer. He is the championship leader. But he's under threat. He's under threat from Strauss. He's under threat from Talborg as well, with the big points at Bathurst still to come. Fourth place is Adam Egby. He'll be very, very pleased with that still. Fifth place is Yunt. Sixth place is James Johnson. What can he produce here? He goes fifth. Johnson up to fifth. Sixth place is David Yunt. Been knocked down one position. Levesque is in seventh. Lee Palmer here is in eighth as he's on an outlap. Pushing very hard through there though still. Ninth place is Norbert Leitner. And he's fourth place in the championship at the moment. After a very, very solid season, where he's shown consistently be able to challenge for podiums, is not exactly for the win. Maybe that win will come soon. My apologies, Norbert Leitner is actually fifth in the championship. Of course, fourth place is James Johnson in that championship. Ben Crooks is now back in seventh in the championship after leading it at around about the halfway point. Shows what troubles he's had throughout the season. Well, Leitner, as he goes around the track, the sector split, he's just in the braking zone for this turn here, so it's quite difficult to get a good grasp of exactly where you are. 8 tenths down as well as that. Now, so Steve Davis goes into sixth position. Here he is, Steve Davis into sixth. Fourth place now is James Johnson. So he's up to fourth. David Yunt now is down to seventh as a result of that. Egbe down to fifth. Levesque is down to eighth. Strauss is starting a hot lap. Here he is. Let's go on board with him throughout this circuit. Riding on board the German driver's bumper into the hairpin he goes. Bit too deep there it seems to me, but a good exit out of it seemed. Kept his speed up. Just under a tenth down on Jesper Talborg. into this incredibly fast double chicane. Flick one way, then the next, and then the next once again. Before heading down to the 90-degree turns that characterise this track at the back end of the circuit. There's one. Bit of a kink to the right, there's another. Get it into the camber on the inside, get back across the track for a decent exit for the next one. Now try and put the power down as hard as you can towards the hairpin. Strauss is trying that. Brake as late as you dare on the curb. He's missed the curb on the inside. It's not going to be a good lap, I don't think, from Strauss. He's missed the curb on the inside. He should have got closer over that curb. Levesque now up into 5th. Here comes Strauss driving for the line. What has Strauss got? Strauss goes pole, 9.865. I was completely wrong about him not being good at the final corner. In fact, maybe he wasn't good at the final corner, just good at the rest of it. And it's 9.865 for Florian Strauss, second in the championship. The winner alongside his co-driver, Michael Schreiner, at Phillip Island. Shannon Blonde now up in 7th. He's shown great pace, and much improved pace since the Phillip Island even event. He's improving over and over. That means Davis now is down to 8th. David Junt is down to 9th. They've been 5th just a few minutes ago, 2 minutes ago in this session. 10th place is Lee Palmer. 11th is Leitner. He's in lots of traffic here as everyone tries to get out of the way of everybody else. One of the 25 Motorsport or 05 Motorsport cars there, just getting out of the way. It was a 25 Motorsport car. Couldn't see if it was George Talbot or Luke Walsh. Leitner now is in the 11th position. Not where he would want to be, especially on a street circuit where it's difficult to pass, of course. Well, there's walls around you, and the RPM car there of, is it Yari Venari or James Johnson, almost in the wall. It is Yari Venari. Oh, excellent video highlights producer as well. Leitner deciding to abandon that run, it seems. We'll have time to, if he gets out the pits immediately, have time for one more run. Kolborg is driving for the line now. What has he got for Florian Strauss? Will he be able to do anything about it? No, he's on an outlap anyway. Apologies for that. He's on an outlap. Now he's starting his hot lap. Skating under braking into turn 1. Just about getting that car turned in. Off the track there is Giuseppe Churchio. There's a Viking behind as well in his distinctive black and white Logitech colours. He heads through this double chicane, pushing very, very hard. As you can see, flicking those tyre bundles can be absolutely deadly. 6 tenths down as a result of that. He might get another lap in, of course. He'll be very, very close actually when he gets another lap in. Might just beat the flag by 1 second. Davis is in 9th. Eric de Veit is now up to 7th, so he's improved from that 12th position. He's up to 7th now, meaning David Junt is down to 10th. Jesper Torborg is going to get another lap in, just. So Torborg will get another lap in. Levesque will not. Well, it is timing him though. I don't think he will though. Florian Strauss is currently on that pole position. In the pits is Schlemo, he won't improve. In the pits is Johnson, he won't improve either. Here is Levesque, he's in 5th. Don't think he's going to get a chance to improve. He may have just beaten the beacon by half a second. Right, Blonde, Davis, Junt. Junt drives like Junt goes 6th. Junt improves at the last second to go into 6th position. But David Junt up into 6th. That will be his best qualifying of the season if he manages to stay there. This track is throwing up a few surprises here in qualifying. Leitner here is in 11th. Whether he's got a chance to complete a lap, I think he has. Stick with him, see if he can improve. He's got the track all to himself. Oh, he can't even, but 2.3 seconds down. Way, way, way off the pace. Mike Rodin is 12th. 13th is Lee Palmer. 14th is Gary Lennon. He's also on his way around the track. Torborg is abandoning his run. Don't think Lennon will get another lap in. Or will he? I mean, still going. And he comes to the line. He stays in 14th anyway. Again, we're just waiting for Torborg to complete his lap. He's gone back into the pits. So, pole position is Florian Strauss. Congratulations to him. Here is the German. There is the grid lineup for you. Florian Strauss, Jesper Torborg, Tobias Schlemo, James Johnson, Levesque, Junt, Egbeer, Tveit, Bond, and Steve Davis. Best qualifying of the season for David Junt and Eric Tveit and Levesque as well. They'll all be very, very pleased with that. Leitner is 11th. 12th is Ike Roding. 13th is Shannon Blonde. Hopefully he'll just get back in the game. Fourth in place, Lennon. 15th is Talbot. 16th, Dobbin. 17th, Nielsen. 18th is Ivanov. 19th, Churchill. 20th was Meervold. Lee Palmer, 21st, I believe. Just left the game, so I'm presuming that's him who should be there. He should be back in any minute during warm-up. 22nd, Coleman. 23rd, Baramkolov. 24th, Roy Magnus. 25th was Alexander Rosen. Round up 26 was, if we actually get 26, of course, was Chris Sykes. Okay, let's try and go out on track then and show you a lap of this circuit. Go. There I am. Go on board with me. We can. Let's take you for a lap around this circuit. I'm doing this without any sound, so apologies if it's rubbish. Let other people know that there is a Stewart car on track. As I exit the picture, you can see how slow the pit speed limiter is here. We've had several drivers this season have problems speeding in the pit lane. Bump on the exit of pit lane. Come out of the pit lane. Very, very narrow pit exit, as you can see. Try and keep the car in between the yellow lines. Unlike what I did there. Rejoin there, you go straight on down towards the hairpin. This track used to go straight on down to the right, as you can see. And those two 90-degree lefts. Second gear for this corner. It's first gear. Into fifth gear. And into sixth, and braking hard for this corner here. Take that in the third or fourth gear. I was in a very low fourth gear because I'm scared. Into the next corner. Try not to hit the tyre wall there. You see the big inclines on the track. Second gear around this corner also as well. Get back across the track. Try and get a good exit for here. Down towards the hairpin. Into fourth gear briefly before braking hard down to second gear. Try not to lock up the brakes and go straight on, just like I did there. Get the car out of the corner. Try not to spin the wheels up too much. Heading down this straight. Hitting almost 265 kilometers an hour all the way down to the first turn. Braking very, very hard, like you see, it's curved braking zone. Into the hairpin. Curve on the inside, try and keep the speed up. Second gear off there, not gain too much wheel spin. and up to over 200 kilometres an hour before hitting this double chicane. 230, 240 almost hitting there. Into the double chicane. Down to third gear I'll go this time. And I've spun it. See, that's what happens when you push too hard. You spin it very, very easily on this track. And then down, round this curve here again as well, which compromises your braking, as we just let some of the other drivers go past. That's Schlemo and Steve Davis ahead of us. Schlemo, of course, the championship leader, has been for quite a number of races now. He's battling to hold on to that lead because he was broken into quite easily by Strauss at Phillip Island. Hit the wall there again at that 90 degree again. And braking hard over here, very, very difficult to do anything with no sound. Now to the final corner, kicking the back end out, of course, as well. Well, braking very, very hard for, and see, not even down to the speed limiter there, even with that hard braking. So I can probably see quite a few difficulties here with the speed limit. I'm about to go to the race now. "26 drivers here lining up for the start of this race. This is the pole sitter Florian Strauss, second in the championship, but only 33 points behind the championship leader. 150 points for a win, so there's plenty all to play for right to the end of the season, of course. With the double events at Bathurst being at the end of the season, it will go all the way to the wire. That is guaranteed.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Unless, of course, Clemmer wins both races and his rivals don't finish any of the races. Third place in the championship is Jesper Torborg. He's some 117 points behind, but of course it's not impossible that he can win from there. With the 600 points that are still on offer in this championship, here is the grid forming up now. We are going to go on a formation lap, of course. Going to be on this formation lap as they all set off around this Surfers Paradise circuit, right next to the beach. Some fantastic views, skyscrapers all around, packed with spectators, of course. Real life series. It plays host to the international drivers events, where teams have to team up with an international driver from outside the series. The co-driver event makes for some spectacular racing. Got some controversy as well. This year, Boris said, decided just to ignore the chicanes pretty much and get away with it at the event. Here, of course, we've got more stringent measures. As you can see, as you come down to the chicane, we've got tie bundles in the way, so very, very difficult for anybody to take advantage of that. As the field streams away through. V8S cars not having a good qualifying session there. There they are, back in 14th and 17th. Not be happy with that. Back of field there is Chris Sykes. V8S cars are 8th and 6th in the championship, so really not living up to the expectations here in the qualifying. Hopefully they'll do better in the race, which will be a long race. As they're about to form up on the grid. Jones vigorously warming his tyres there. Which I was going to thought he was going to go into the wall then. Forming up on this straight. We call it a straight, but it's not really. Just curve right around to the right hand side, as many of the braking zones are here. Very, very difficult under braking with that curved braking zone. Colbert was doing one final burnout before the setting up on his grid position. All look set to go racing. Waiting for Chris Sykes to come towards his grid spot. Like he's hit something on the outlap actually. His car looks damaged. Hopefully not another competitor. Maybe he's wiped out actually the back of Alexander Rowe's car, but anyway. Here we are now at the start of the race. Florian Strauss on the right. Jesper Torborg on the left. Who's going to get away from the line quickest? Strauss has the optimal line on the inside to defend a position, if so. And off the line they go. Strauss gets off to a fantastic start. He's already away from the pack and can take his ideal line. But Schlemo is challenging with Jesper Torborg into the first chicane. They go side by side. Schlemo takes the second position away. So it's a 360 racing 1-2. Torborg into second. Fourth place now is Levesque. Fifth place is down to fifth place goes James Johnson. Fantastic start there from Norbert Leitner. He's up to seventh already. Here he is. There's the Hungarian challenging Adam Egbe coming down towards double chicane. Egbe gives him a short strift there though. So David Hunt's down to 8th. He's not started this race well at all. The same cannot be said of course for Norbert Leitner. He's up into 7th already from 11th on the grid. Already James Johnson pushing very, very hard through the opening lap. Cold tyres for everyone of course. Did everyone make it through okay? Here are the rest of the contenders. Zweig did not get off to a great start. Talbot's up to 11th. Blond's 12th. 13th is Gary Lennon as the field stream make their way through. Look at all this. No contact it seems at the moment. Oh, we see Richard Coleman missing the front part of his car. Not sure what's happened to him. But he's back now in third last. But here is Florian Strauss. He has a big lead at the end of the first lap already. What is the split going to be? Going to be at least a second. 1.6 seconds at the start of the first lap. At the end of the first lap, sorry. And that is a huge margin for anybody to try and pick up as Schlemo makes his way rather clumsily through the first section. 1.6 seconds is light years in this series. And Strauss looks like he's all set for a victory here today. Looking for at least 3 stops, we would say, for drivers. We'd have to do 34 laps on one stint. Drivers are finally only do 28. So we're looking for probably 3 stops, a 4-stint race. Schlemo, the champion leader, is in second position. Gain Strauss is ahead of him. Third place is Jesper Torborg. Fourth place is William Levesque. He'll be very, very pleased with that indeed. His form has been improving constantly throughout the season. A strong showing in the World Touring Masters also as well. Here is Adam Egbe. He's got Norbert Leitner in behind him. There is the Hungarian driver. Coleman's been into the pits already. Damage to the front of his car, of course. We saw the fact that he saw his front bumper was completely wiped out. As he go down the long front straight, Richard Coleman trying to get out of the way as he comes out of the pits of all the other drivers. Jesper Torborg's got passed by Schlemo. Jesper Torborg is up into second position. Not sure what happened there. Levesque is getting out of shape in the background. So what happened to Torborg and Schlemo? Let's try and see that on the replay. Oh, Schlemo just ran over the curb. The anti-cut on the inside of the tyre bundle and pushed him off the right hand side. He didn't crash. Actually, great driving not to crash there. Torborg is now ahead of him. Now Schlemo's defending heavily from William Levesque. Levesque under attack now, of course, from Johnson as well. There's Egbe, Leitner, and David Junt all in attendance. Schlemo's under huge pressure here. And Richard Coleman has crashed again already. Crashed at the double chicane. Wiped out the front of his car once again. He gets going though. He's persevering on. Schlemo is in third. We'll have a slight gap now on William Levesque though. The gap from Torborg to Strauss is 4.1 seconds after just 3 laps. And Schlemo seems to be struggling and under braking for that first turn. Here is Levesque. He's in fourth. Here's Johnson in fifth. Continue to monitor the gap between Torborg and Strauss at the front of the field because can Torborg catch up to the German? There's an opportunity for Torborg to claim his first win of the season. He's the winning driver in the Touring Pro Series history, but has not managed to win in the entire season of this V8 Supercars. I know that has annoyed him at some point. He's had a pole position, but never a win. Awesome tire marks on the road there. Somebody has obviously done a 360 to get going once again. Coleman is back into the pits, second pit stop in just 3 laps. Florian Strauss, fastest lap of the race. Strauss is going to extend the gap between him and Torborg. Gap is now 4.4 seconds. Here's Leitner pulling out from inside. The inside of Adam Egbe, down the inside into turn 1. Oh, Egbe just about outbraked the Hungarian. Great driving there from both of them. Jeff Dobbing's been into the pits also as well. But Leitner gets the run off the corner. Oh, Egbe is trying to muscle him out of the way. Leitner's having none of it. Leitner gets across the track. He's going to squeeze across now. If he's ahead, coming to the 150 metre mark, Egbe has to concede. Egbe concedes anyway. Into the double chicane, there you go. Leitner now up into 6th position, and he looks like he's got plenty of speed under that Ford bonnet. His next target will be James Johnson. Levaik is still keeping Tobias Schlemo extremely honest. This is the championship leader being challenged by William. And William is showing fantastic form. Great maturity, precision of driving, and an excellent qualifying session, 5th place. Strauss again, fastest lap of the race, responding to the fact that Torborg's taken 2nd position, and Torborg is now 5 seconds behind Strauss. He's taken another 6/10 out of Torborg on that lap. Strauss looks like he's on a mission at the back end of this championship to win it. Johnson in the background there, just clipping the curb on the inside. The gap between him and Norbert Leitner is now 1.5 seconds. David Junt here in 8th position. 9th place is Steve Davis. Coleman's back into the pits once again. Perhaps he's doing a drive-through, feeding the pit lane, which is incredibly easy to do. Now he's back into the pits for an actual pit stop. Obviously didn't get all of his repairs done the first time around. Cannon Blonde here is in 10th. He's challenging his fellow Australian. Of course, one still lives in Australia, but now Steve Davis lives in Los Angeles. Ford versus Holden. Coleman back out of the pits once again. Oh, and off the track there is Alexander Rhodes. Is that Alexander Rhodes? Oh, there's all kinds of carnage. Oh, Blonde spun out also there. Gets going once again. He's in the middle of the track. Oh, he's having to get out of the way of all kinds of drivers here. Who was that was in the way? Looked like that was Alexander Rhodes. It was Alexander Rhodes, just dawdling in the middle of the track. And Blonde just came across him, and Blonde has wiped out the back end of his car as well, I think. There is Alexander Rhodes, obviously with a very, very damaged car. See that on replay. Very, very strange incident indeed. Blonde did well not to actually cause any more incident for anybody else. As they came into the chicane, here it is. As they came into the chicane, here is Alexander Rhodes going extremely slowly, trying to get going. Oh, and Blonde just tagged the inside of him. What happened to Alexander Rhodes? Why is he in the middle of the track there? Can't quite see why he's in the middle of the track, but whatever he was doing, it was not advisable for him to stay there. He got going once again. He must have a right rear puncher or something, trying to get going. Poor Shannon Blonde. He's in a great position. Now he's back to 21st. With the back end of his car missing also as well. Won't be helping the handling. Hopefully he can get far enough to still make this race a 3-stop race for him. He's got good speed, just needs to show he can do it consistently now. Back at the front of the field, Florian Strauss still leading supremely from Jesper Torborg. The gap is 5.1 seconds, so Torborg has managed to just peg that gap a little bit. Still extending it, 5.2 seconds now. Alexander Rhodes with a very long pit stop there, of course, for that huge damage. By Schlemo, 9.1 seconds behind Levaik. Levaik, has just got back a little bit from the championship leader. 5th place is Norbert Lyons, 6th place is Egby, 7th is Junt, 8th is Davis. Where has James Johnson gone? James Johnson is in 23rd position, he's into the pits. Now is that strategy? But I can't believe that would be strategy. Try and find James Johnson, see if we can find out what happened to him. 27.5 second pit stop. And get back to him. There he is. We'll be able to check out any of these replays. It's a bit too far back. Need to notice, but James Johnson's win. Oh, he's got a right front puncher. Hit the wall hard somewhere. Then we can't find out where. Is it down at this corner? I think it was down in that corner. Maybe it was a bit earlier on actually, because he seems to be back further down the field there. That was fighting Giuseppe Churchio. He's back in the race nonetheless. 23rd position now for James Johnson. As Eric Veit almost crashes the car through the double chicane. Florian Strauss is now leading by 5.8 seconds from Jesper Torborg. Johnson gets out of shape there. Let's go back towards the front of the field. Check them out. There is Norbert Leitner with his 5 positions he's gained since the start of the race. I think he's gained 6 actually. Lehmann still in 3rd. Weig, oh, he's made a mistake at the first turn. He's going to go straight on. Going to have to yield to Norbert Leitner. Leitner's now up into 4th position. He's not had a great qualifying session, but he's having a fantastic race so far. Great consistency and great speed also as well. Strauss puts another lap on Alexander Rhodes in the process of leading this race. So Leitner now up into 4th, marching through the field here. Can he catch up to Schlemo and put himself on for another podium position? Leveik's down to 5th. I was praising how well he was doing. He's dropped back down the field, dropped back from the back of his rivals. 6th place is Adam Egby. He's running very strongly indeed. Last time Adam Egby was running so strongly was at Oran Park. We all know what happened there. So fingers crossed for you, Adam. 7th place is David Hunt. 8th here is Steve Davis. Just about getting the car turned in for that corner there. 9th place is Lee Palmer. 10th place now is Gary Lennon. He's having a stronger race as well, just like Norbert Leitner, than his qualifying session. Will Lennon pull a move down here? Doesn't look like he will. Lennon's got a slight bit of damage, it seems, to the left front of his Ford Falcon. They head through the first chicane. Veit is in 11th. 12th place is Ike Roning. There in the middle of all that, out of position, is James Johnson. He's a lap down on these drivers. Of course, he looks like he's got a bit more speed, so he'll be a little bit frustrated being in behind other people. Gap between Strauss and Torborg is 7.1 seconds. Strauss is putting on a masterclass here at the moment, just like his second stint at Phillip Island. This is a fantastic stint at the moment from Florian Strauss, driving superbly with speed and precision and consistency. And there's James Johnson getting the weight of Ike Rodin down into the chicane. I think James Johnson almost hit Eric Veit in the process. Anders Nielsen in a very lonely 13th place there. 14th place, and very pleased with that he will be, is Nikola Ilivanov. 15th place is Rustam Brayramklov, teammate to, of course, Alexander Rhodes. We saw having those difficulties earlier. 16th place is George Talbot. He'll be very disappointed with that at the moment. 17th here is Yari Venari. Under big attack from Shannon Blond. Shannon has fought back through the field very quickly here. Picked up 3 positions already. Of course, one of those positions from James Johnson. How much quicker Shannon Blond seems to be than Venari. Venari got off the corner very well there. 19th place is Ole Marius Meervold. 20th place here is Giuseppe Churchill. 21st is Roy Magnez. Showing as a 1 lap down, but he's not. 22nd is Chris Sykes. I believe he is 1 lap down. Yes, he is. Chris Sykes is 1 lap down already in this early going, just showing the speed of some of the other drivers here. Sykes is getting out of the way. 23rd is James Johnson. He's trying to get past Eric Veit and unlap himself. Of course, it's proving very, very difficult. We're in so much traffic on such a tight track. There is Jeff Dobbing in 24th. He's had damage also as well early on. 25th is Alexander Rhodes. He's had damage. That's an understatement. 26th. Also, Richard Coleman with damage. Since the opening couple of laps, has been very consistent and not crashed the car. Oh, Richard. Just as I was about to say something good, he went and binned it. Florian Strauss, though, is still leading this race by a comfortable margin from Jesper Torborg. He's making the other drivers look very, very ordinary here today, including the championship leader, Tobias Schlemo. Schlemo has taken 3 wins so far this season. His teammate Strauss has taken 2. It looks like Schlemo's got no answer at the moment for Florian Strauss. He's the biggest enemy at the moment for Florian Strauss is himself. At the moment, he's absolutely rinsing the rest of the field. Magnus has made a small mistake out of the chicane. He gets out of the way for Florian Strauss coming through. Here is Schlemo in 4th and 3rd place. Leitner is in 4th. Does not appear to be gaining on Schlemo. Vike is still in 5th. 6th place is still Adam Egbeer, but he's now under pressure here from David Junt and Lee Palmer. And should be Gary Lennon, but Gary Lennon is actually now in behind Steve Davis. That's because Steve Davis is now actually in behind Lee Palmer. Is that correct? I think Lee Palmer was behind his drivers before. He was. So Lee Palmer's got past Steve Davis. Right, still got James Johnson all over the back of him. James must be so frustrated. One small mistake and the fight goes straight through the chicane. Oh, and there is David Junt under attack from Lee Palmer. And Adam Egbeer as well involved in all this. Junt is in a DSC sandwich. Oh, Tveit has gone into the wall on the exit of the hairpin as well. You've seen that coming a mile off. Junt's now crawling all over the back of Adam Egbeer as they head through the chicanes. Here we are on board with Egbeer looking back at David Junt. Junt's looking very menacing indeed, positioning his car in just a certain way to let Adam Egbeer know that he is intending on trying to get past. Deppy Churchill is another driver who's going to go a lap down from Florian Strauss. So already top 20 up to up to 20th position has been lapped. Here's David Junt all the way down the straight. He's getting a nice slipstream down the straight. Will he be able to pull alongside Adam Egbeer? Egbeer's covering to the inside. He's going down the middle of the track. We go into the first chicane. Very, very nicely there for Egbeer. Oh, see the bumps though as the drivers go through that. Out of the hairpin. Now is Steve Davis. He's under attack from Gary Lennon. James Johnson in behind. Of course, James Johnson doesn't have to let them all pass, but he is faster than the drivers around him, it seems, at the moment. He'll want to get past or lap himself, to be honest. Oh, he's all over the back of Gary Lennon. That's going to be dangerous there. Johnson going down the inside of Lennon. Lennon would be wise, just let him pass. Now to Tveit. Goes past Johnson as well. So Johnson's back exactly where he started, in behind Eric Tveit. But this is a great battle here for 6th position. Further down the field, Nils is still in that 13th position. Michael Roding's dropped back off this group as Lennon gets out of shape, coming out of the final out of the final hairpin also. Strauss is just serene at the front of this field at the moment, flowing his car through the corners, leading by 9 seconds now from Jesper Torborg. That's a huge, huge lead in the World V8 Supercars. It really is. Especially at the front of this field. He's by 13 seconds from his teammate, and 18 seconds from Norbert Leitner. Continue to follow this battle between Egbeer and Junt. Through the chicane, again went Eric Tveit. Missing chicanes too many times here. He'll be in trouble from the stewards later in the event. Lennon right in the middle of all this as well. He's been able to make a move at the moment. Got a feeling once one person makes a move, the rest will. It's all going to kick off. Someone's been back into the pits once again. He's having a torrid time out there. But now here's a chance for David Yunt. David Yunt down the inside. He's got to run out the first turn. Egbeer's under attack. This is the same place Leitner did him earlier. Will David Yunt get the run off the corners? They're going to be side by side. Coming towards. And they are side by side. Who's ahead? Looks like David Yunt is actually ahead. David Yunt takes the position. Egbeer has to concede. David Yunt was just ahead as they came to the 150 metre mark. Now Egbeer down, trying to squeeze down the inside of David Yunt immediately. But he's under attack. He's under attack from Lee Palmer. Lee Palmer's off the track has gone. Egbeer under braking, just losing it. Said it all kick off, and it has kicked off. Lee Palmer's gone past. Lennon around the outside. Lennon's going to be in the wall. There's not enough space there for two drivers to go through. Egbeer recovers. Egbeer's back to 8th position though. Lennon's got past Steve Davis and all that also. It all really did kick off in the end. Richard Coleman, I think he's been in the pits, but I'm sure he's not in the pits. He's not in the pits all this time, so ignore those ones at the moment. He has only been in the pits 3 times. He is, I'm afraid, 4 laps down now. Egbeer now back down to 8th. Yunt has escaped. Look at that. Look at the gap Yunt has created now. Levesque is miles ahead of that battle. Here he is in 5th, coming out of the double chicane. And here's David Yunt coming up to the double chicane, so it's a massive, massive gap. Here's Lee Palmer in 7th. Egbeer there is in 8th. On, Steve Davis goes straight on. Trying very, very hard. There is Eric Tveit. He's in 11th. 12th place is Anders Nielsen. Micah Roding has made a mistake somewhere because he's now back in 21st and 1 lap down. This track is really taking its toll on the drivers here. Johnson trying to go down the inside of Steve Davis. He's trying, well, not trying to go down the inside, trying not to hit him, I guess, there. But he has much, much better speed. He's just stuck in this gaggle of cars. Lennon now lining up Adam Egbeer. Egbeer is going backwards. Well, these two drivers came together at Oran Park. Resulted in all kinds of carnage. Egbeer covering the inside. Steve Davis trying to take advantage of the fact that Lennon was balked. Johnson trying to take the fact that Davis was balked. Johnson going down the inside. Johnson's trying to, just furiously trying to make his way through. Let me pass, guys. I'm much faster. And to be fair, he's got a point. The driver should just let him pass. The Tolbold now 9.4 seconds behind the race leader, Florian Strauss. Lap after lap, Strauss is just punching in the numbers. On to lap 20 already. Already at 20% through this race. It's been action-packed so far. Oh, this is big, big traffic jam. 2 lap cars in the way there. I thought it was going to be all kinds of chaos, but somehow they managed to get away with it. Lennon understeering massively into that corner there. Churchill's trying to get out of the way as well. All kinds of traffic in the narrowest part of the circuit. Johnson is trying to get past Lennon. One lap himself. Egbeer still in 8th. 7th here is Yunt. 7th is Palmer. 6th is Yunt. 8th is Egbeer. Lennon's too far back to make a move this lap around. They flick their way through the first chicane. But Lennon's got the run. Lennon's got the run inside. No, he decides to pull out of it. Cannon Blon has left the game also as well. What a big, big shame. Showing good pace until that, obviously, that incident with Alexander Rhodes, sorry. Well, Roding has gone from being one position behind Nielsen to being a lap behind Nielsen, so something has happened quite badly there. We're getting ready for pit stops pretty soon, I would presume, in around about 6 to 10 laps time. Oh, and Yunt! Oh, David Yunt has made a big mistake. He's stuck against the wall, gets going again. He's now back to 11th position, however. And he was way, way up the field. He was up in 6th. He's thrown it away though with a small mistake, it seems. He's not got much damage. There's a small mistake in the 90-degree left-hander. Try and catch what happened. He's just rejoining now. He had to wait for everyone to go past, of course. Oh, what a shame for David Junt. Just a small mistake, a lack of concentration. Just spun the car around. Trying to get going, of course, had to stop. There goes Palmer, there goes Eggbert, there goes Lennon, there goes Johnson, there goes Davis, there goes Tveit, there goes Churchio. To let all kinds of drivers go past. Almost caused a massive crash, actually. So the drivers did very, very well. Did not hit the back of the Nitro Racing Ford. He's got going once again. He is now down to 11th, however. That means Tveit's up to 10th. Here is Steve Davis in 9th. Here is Lennon still in 8th. Johnson just ahead of him in 7th. Johnson not in 7th, sorry. Eggbert is in 7th. Johnson trying to unlap himself from the 7th place, Adam Eggbert. Out of shape he gets there as Johnson gets out of shape also as well. And then Johnson will lose position too. Lennon, as a result of that, he has to let Lennon go through. Lap behind. Tough justice. That's just the way it is. Oh, see some carnage there at the final corner. Looked like actually the remains of Shannon Blonde's car. That's just what happened to him. That's just why he quit from the race. But Torborg's got the gap down to 8.2. So Strauss has made a small mistake on that last lap. 1.2 seconds he lost. Did a 12.4. He'd been doing 11s before that. Strauss making a small mistake at some point. Perhaps just locking up a brake. Understeering somewhere or almost spinning it under power. Torborg has been very consistent since the start of the race. Strauss has had the speed, however. See what the gap is as Torborg crosses the line. Egbert's into the pits. So he's the first of the front runners to pit in this race. Well, should go 24, 25, 26 laps for each stint. So he's a little bit behind, but he can also make that up later on. Gap is on 8 seconds between Strauss and Torborg. So Torborg is gaining on the race leader. 11.1s from Torborg on that lap. Strauss just 11.4. So we're going to watch that battle there with great interest. Perhaps Strauss has used his tyres a bit hard. That's an 8-second lead, of course, so he's used them wisely. The field has now calmed down a little bit, but David Junt is catching up to Eric Tveit. That could be the next battle we watch. Torborg now, let's see what kind of gap it is at the end of this lap. Will Strauss come into the pits? Check with the leaders. Strauss is not pitting. Strauss crossed the line at 112.0 for Florian Strauss. What has Torborg got? 11.6. He's taken another 0.3 of a second out of Florian Strauss. The gap is now 7.6 seconds. Torborg's coming strong. Schlemo is 14 seconds behind still. It was 16 seconds at one point. Schlemo's with 11.7s. Schlemo was very, very consistent. 11.7, 11.4, 0.5, 0.9, 0.5, 0.7, 0.7. Strauss in the 12s for the last few laps. 12.4, 11.4 and a 12.0. Of course, traffic may be playing a role in that. Oh no, what on earth is happening there? Roy Magnez going completely the wrong direction to the track. In the background. Strauss has now lapped everybody up till 14th place, Ruslan Barankulov. He's absolutely mothering the field at the moment. The top three drivers are mothering the field, quite frankly. Sykes is trying to get out of the way and trying to get back to the pits to repair his damage. Coleman has now left the game after his torrid time that he's had. He's retired with suspension damage. Gap between Torborg and Strauss in 7.4. He's taken another 0.2 of a second out of Strauss on that lap, but a 12.6 from Strauss on that lap. 12.3 from Torborg. So not as quickly for Torborg. He might be kicking himself for not gaining quite as much because he's into the traffic now as well that Strauss has just encountered a couple of laps before. So that could be a reason for that. Schlemo has gained half a second on Strauss on that lap. In fact, more has gained 0.6 of a second. But Schlemo's not been counted out of this yet. Often been the master of strategy this season so far. Levac is into the pits. Here he is. Getting going once again. Not quite sure why he stopped in pit lane. What on earth happened there? Rewind that for you. Levac just stopping in the middle of the pit lane for some reason. I've got no idea why he did that. Gets going once again. Strauss is into the pits, however. Strauss is into the pits. That's Schlemo into the pits also as well. Here is Florian Strauss coming to a halt in his pits. Schlemo coming in behind him. Strauss changing all 4 tyres, it seems. Holborg now is in the lead of this race. Here he is. It's also well is Norbert Leitner, and out of the pits once again. Schlemo gets going. 15-second pit stop for him. A little bit shorter for Norbert Leitner. David Junt has not pitted, so he's up to 4th. Anders Nielsen also up to 5th. They're the ones who always was longer on his pit stops. Strauss is still in 2nd, coming out of the pits. Just behind James Johnson. In fact, he's almost a lap ahead of. Torborg now is coming into the pits. Gets the car slowed down. Torborg, well done. Just about getting the car stopped for the pit entry. Into the pits there also as well. That's George Talbot. Luke Walsh was in the server earlier, but not in the server anymore, unfortunately. So it is just George Talbot driving for the 25 Motorsport cars. So Torborg into the pits. Let's watch Strauss come through now. Strauss coming to the final corner. Torborg is just stopping in his pit stall, so it should be easy for Strauss to retake the lead in this race. Of course, he had a 7.6 second lead before the pit stops. Pits also welcome Yariv Nari, just in front of Jesper Torborg. That would have held him up just a couple of seconds. Strauss goes through. Comes out of the pits. Comes out of the exit of turn 1, just ahead of George Talbot. Jesper Torborg is exiting now. There he is. We have cold tyres for this lap also as well. Eric Tveit has retired from the game also. Not sure what happened to him. Whatever it is, it's DNF for the young Norwegian. Looks like he may have disconnected, in fact. So Eric Tveit out of this race, unfortunately. Jesper Torborg is just 7 seconds behind Strauss now, so he's gained slightly in that pit stop. What will it be at the end of the lap though? Because Torborg, there's Olemaris Mirvold off the track in the same place as we saw Roy Magnez earlier. Very, very strange. Not sure what's happening in that part of the circuit. It's not that difficult part of the circuit. It's just a braking zone. Nice to pull themselves together. David Junt here is in 3rd. Going straight on also as well. Come on, guys. Get into the pits if you find it difficult to carry on with worn tyres. Hitting this time around. In he comes. Tobias Schlemo will now be back into 3rd position. The gap at the end of the outlap for Jesper Torborg. Apologies for that, pressed the wrong button. Is 8.1 seconds, so he's lost ground to the race leader, Florian Strauss. In fact, the gap is 7.5 now after the first sector. Out in the middle of some traffic here. There is it, in between Johnson and Ilivanov. Johnson now up into 12th position. Of course, he's out of sync with the rest of the guys. They've made that pit stop, and he's been blocked there almost by Nikola Ilivanov. Of course, Ilivanov's entitled to do that. He's actually in 11th position, just ahead of James Johnson. Don't think Ilivanov has come into the pits just yet. Will he do this time around? Well, lap 28 of the race. Perhaps Ilivanov has been into the pits, of course. Been so much attrition in this race so far. Everybody up until 11th position has been lapped. Steve Davis is the next one to be lapped by Florian Strauss. It's over half. That would be well over. It's well over half the field well before a third of the race. So really, Florian Strauss and Jesper Tolborg, Lemo and Leitner et al. Are really putting the field to the sword here. Lee Palmer in 8th, Lennon in 7th. 6th place is Adam Egbe. Here is the big battle at the moment between 6th and 7th. Sorry, Egbe's got back into that 6th position, having dropped to 8th at one point. Gap between Tolborg and Strauss, 8.2 seconds. Jeff Dobbin getting out of the way for both of these drivers here. Hang to the left, the right, sorry. Oh, and almost off the track goes Ike Roding. Not that difficult a track, guys. Now Lennon all over the back of Egbe, who was slow out of the first chicane. Lennon's not going to be able to get ahead of him before the double chicane. Strauss now, fastest lap of the race, 9.954. That almost equals his pole lap. But really he is going some. Lap 30. Over 102, still 72 laps to go here. Anything can happen, of course. The top 3 look locked in at the moment. Egbe still defending from Gary Lennon, still fending him off, sorry, should I say. Defending, of course. The Reich is not as far ahead of his group as he was before. He's falling back into their clutches also. Tolborg only able to do high 10s, while Strauss is doing high 9s, of course. Strauss has got Steve Davis next on his list lap as he continues to fend off the Scotsman. And the Scotsman dives out again on turn 1. It seems to be the area where Egbe is having the most difficulty. Been passed a couple of times there. Strauss puts a lap on Steve Davis. Goes through, does a 1:12.5 as a result of the fact that Steve Davis was in front of him for that lap. What can Tolborg do? He's had Nielsen in front of him, so Tolborg did a 10.7. So the gap is now down to 6.8 seconds only. Traffic playing a big part here. Lennon continues to track Adam Egbe. Bottom of the 6th. Forward from Adam Egbe, from Lennon, sorry, at Adam Egbe. Once again, Van der Rohe is getting in the way there of the cars. Wiggling along, he's in danger on track at the moment. Lennon continues to close on Adam Egbe. As a result of that, Lee Palmer's closing on both of them. Could be another DSC sandwich here. We wouldn't have experienced it earlier. In fact, Lennon will be experiencing it again. Maybe that was doing Alexander Rhodes a disservice then. Maybe it was Rustam Barankulov. It was not Rustam Barankulov. It was Alexander Rhodes. Lee Palmer's in 8th. David Young's back up to 9th position. Not quite a lap down, but very close to being so. Roland Strauss leading this race by 9.1 seconds from Jesper Torborg. On lap 34, let's give you a quick rundown of the order. Strauss in first. Here he is. Second place is Jesper Torborg, right in the traffic here. And to put a lap on Steve Davis, who's having none of it just there. Torborg will be furious at that. That was ideal position for Davis letting go through. It didn't happen. Oh, and Torborg pushed too hard through the chicane also as well. Went straight across and straight past Davis as a result of that. Obviously fuming inside. You almost see the anger in the body language of the car. Went straight through, straight past. Third place is Tobias Schlemo. There is Alexander Rhodes, trailing around the track at the moment. Maybe it was actually Rustam Barankulov that time around. Chris Sykes is in the wall as well at the final corner. This time it's actually Rustam Barankulov actually just crawling around the track. Apologies to Alexander Rhodes there. But Barankulov, teammate to Alexander Rhodes, find itself also in strife in a similar way. Alexander Rhodes has been into the pits now also as well. Back to the run through the field. Third place is Schlemo. Fourth place is Norbert Leitner. Schlemo has lost lots of ground in this stint. Strauss is 20 seconds behind now. Fifth place is William Levite. Sixth place is Adam Egbe. Right behind him, of course, is Gary Lennon. Right behind them two is Lee Palmer. An exciting battle soon. Ninth place is David Juntz. 10th place here is George Talbot. 11th place is Steve Davis. 12th place is Nikola Livanov. 13th place is Anders Nielsen. Looking to get past. 14th place is Jari Venari. 15th place is James Johnson behind his teammate. 16th place is Ike Roding. 17th place is Ruslan Barankulov. 18th place is Ole Marius Meervold. 19th place Jeff Dobbin. 20th place Churchill. 21st Roy Magnez. 22nd was Alex Rhodes. Last of the runners so far. Chris Sykes has quit from the race also well after that crash. 23rd. 24th to right. DNF. I think it was a disconnection. 25th Shannon Blonde. Seemed like a disconnection also. Maybe it was some damage because we saw some huge damage at the final corner, which looked like his bodywork. And 26th, which out from the race also as well, was Richard Coleman. Strauss continued to lead from Jesper Torborg. Gap is now 11 seconds. Torborg again cutting the corner to get past the back marker. And that's not going to be looked very lightly by the stewards at all. Take a dim view of the fact that back markers didn't let him pass, and a dim view of the fact that he did do illegal means to get past other drivers. That will be investigated after the race, there's no doubt about that. Third place Tobias Schlemo. Fourth place is Norbert Leitner. Back to this battle between Lennon and Egbe. We've missed the pass after going through the field. We've missed the pass. Lennon's run wide though at the final corner. Lee Palmer's now attacking his teammate and friend Adam Egbe. Egbe makes a mistake through there. Lee Palmer has to run now through out of the double chicane down into the next braking zone. Will Palmer go through? Can't see because of the trees. Palmer squeezing against the wall, leaving just about enough racing room for both of them. Now Egbe is having to concede. Egbe has to concede there because there's no camber on the outside, and Palmer uses that camber Palmer is through. Eggbert now back down to that 8th position he was in earlier. Lennon up to 6th. Palmer 7th. 8th, Adam Beer. 9th is David Junt. Not too far behind this group and gaining also as well. 10th place is George Talbot. Got Jesper Torbo just behind him. Just in front of him, sorry, should I say it. 11th place is Steve Davis. Dropped back from George Talbot extremely quickly. 12th place is still Ilivanov, still holding off Anders Nielsen of all people. Gap between Strauss and Torb, 11.5 seconds. Strauss is keeping him at arm's length. Kind of battle on track for you. Feels very spread out at the moment. Unusual considering how big a track, how small a track it is. That's actually only 8 people on the lead lap at the moment. The rate it's going. Florian Strauss will lap everybody up until 4th place Norbert Leitner by the end of this race. It shows how fast he's been here today. Along with Jesper Torborg, the lesser extent Schlemo and Leitner. Then we're dropping back very, very quickly indeed, in fact, actually. And Leitner is gaining on Tobias Schlemo. The gap between Leitner and Schlemo is just now 6 seconds. Less than that, in fact. That split 5.6 it seems now the gap is. See what the gap is at the end of this lap. Benara's left the game also as well. Not sure what's happened to him. DNF. Maybe he's disconnected. Maybe he had an accident also as well. Oh, Yari just came to a halt. And that was it. Maybe it was a disconnect also as well. The gap between Leitner and Schlemo is now just 5.1 seconds. Leitner's been consistently in the 11th in this stint. 10.9 at one point also as well. Schlemo has been in the high 11s, or even 12 sometimes. 11.1 at one point, so a bit inconsistent here from Schlemo. Is that Gary Lennon with the big damage on the front of his car? Not Gary Lennon, it must be Anders Nielsen. It is Anders Nielsen, number 68. Big damage to the front of his car. You have to come to the pits, get that repaired also. There he is, just peeling off towards the pit lane. Leitner goes through for another lap. What's the gap between himself and Schlemo now? It's 5.3 seconds, so that time around Schlemo pulled out another 2/10. We did 12.8 in that lap though. Whereas Bryce Leitner didn't gain then. And the 12.2, so he must have gained somewhere. Gap is exactly 5 seconds according to the official timing. Torborg 11.5 seconds behind Strauss. The Viking 5th, 6th place is Lennon. 7th place is Lee Palmer, pulling away from his teammate Adam Eggbert, who is now a lap down, and Lee Palmer is going to go a lap down pretty soon also as well. Strauss is in the background. Strauss is absolutely mullering this field here today. Him and Torborg win the class of the field. Strauss is extremely quick. Adelaide also as well, alongside with Ben Crooks, Torborg's 3ID Gaming teammate. Through it all the way on the last lap, so it's definitely nothing to be taken for granted here by Strauss. Does seem to excel at these street circuits. Seems to have the precision that the other drivers do not seem to have. Strauss going to put another lap on Churchill there. Churchill pulls out of the way, allowing the German to go through. Gap between Leitner and Schlemer now is just 4.1 seconds at the end of that lap. It is a dominant performance from Strauss. More dominant than we've seen from anybody so far this season, I would say. And here comes Strauss now to put a lap on another driver. So that's everyone up until 7th position now, a lap down. And there's just Lennon, just ahead, who will be the 6th place guy. And he'll be a lap down soon also as well. The Levaik is some way ahead of Strauss, but it would seem, with the way Strauss is driving here today, not even halfway through the race, that he will put Levaik easily a lap down also as well. And possibly Norbert Leitner also. Strauss gets in a bit of difficulty there with one of the back markers. Alexander Rowe just getting in the way once again. Not having a pleasant race at all, Alex. Now 6 laps down because he's still running. Several drivers behind him are not running. The tyres begin to fade on Strauss's car. You see it's a little bit of a handful on power. It's flicking it through corners beautifully. Nice smooth moments. Catching the slide, anticipating it. Power on, straight back across the track once again. Beautiful lines here from Florian. Better if my mouse wasn't in the way. A little bit deep at the final corner, gets out of shape on the exit, which is extremely easy to do, of course, with that curved acceleration zone. Cars have 634 brake horsepower, weigh almost 1.5 tons. Really difficult to drive. Torborg now going to be several seconds behind. Gap was 9.4, just one lap ago, now it's 10.7. Strauss has put the hammer down once again. Make a mistake yet. Run a wheel over a curb, miss a corner. Hope I didn't jinx him here to hit this corner. No, beautiful through there once again. The front of the car just lifting ever so slightly as he goes through. Gap between Schlemo and Leitner has just stabilised a little bit. 4.7 seconds now. Schlemo just about keeping Leitner at bay, but any small mistake from Schlemo and Leitner will be right there. 5th place is Levi. He's got some damage to the front of his car, in fact, actually. 6th place is Lennon. 7th is Lee Palmer. Oh, Lee Palmer. What a time to catch you. He's going to be stuck in the middle of the track. Reverse. Reverse Lee. Through comes Jesper Torborg. Through comes David Young. He's lost position. David Young has got through into 8th. Where's Adam Egbeer gone, by the way? Back down to 11th is Adam Egbeer. I think he's either pitted or he's had some difficulty somewhere. But ahead of him now is Ilovanov in 10th. Ilovanov will be very, very pleased with that indeed. James Johnson right behind Egbeer now, fighting for that 11th position. George Talbot now in 9th, and George Talbot's challenging Lee Palmer. Lee Palmer out of shape under braking, trying to get on the inside. He just about managed to get off the corner. Talbot trying to fight his way through as well to keep the fight with Lee Palmer. Take it to him. But David Young's back up to 7th. Heike Roding's out of the race also as well. So drivers dropping like flies here at the moment, not even halfway through. 4 laps until halfway. It's a true test of driver skill to separate the men from the boys this kind of race. Palmer in the walls again. Talbot trying to get the run off the corner to try and get the inside. Of course, he had to put the power on a bit too hard, on a bit too tight a line. But now he's got the run off the corner, off the hairpin. Should be beautiful here from Talbot. Oh, he's sideways, catching it, sliding. And as a result of that, Palmer is able to hold on. They head through the first turn. Palmer just getting a bit rattled, it seems. He needs to get his rhythm back. Driving very, very well before the incident. Who's that just up ahead? Is that Anders Nielsen or is it Gary Lennon? Can't be Gary Lennon because Gary Lennon is in 6th. And David Young is in between these drivers. So Palmer in 8th, so just lapping Anders Nielsen and Talbot to the inside. Talbot's pulling to the inside. Does he have the room to make a move? This is where Palmer went through an Egbeer. Oh, they're out of shape. And Palmer just about held on the position. Not quite sure how he did that. Talbot's desperately trying to get past. Sorry, should I say? But of course, the tyres have been taking some punishment. The Vike is into the pits. Then into the pits also. Lap 49. Maybe a couple of laps early to take it to the end. Time will tell. Here is Talbot now on Lee Palmer. Down the front straight they go. Well, the front stretch, should I say. Not really a straight. And again, Talbot has to concede the position. Palmer braking beautifully for that corner. Gets out of the corner well as well. Talbot looking all over, left and right. Now Talbot again looking, just threatening Palmer into this corner, but knows he can't make a way through. Oh, Talbot hit the curb, the tyre bundle extremely hard. They had to go straight through. Palmer desperately trying to hold Talbot off, almost in the tyre wall there. Talbot again has to run. Talbot has to run this time. Surely this time he's going to stick it down the inside. He will do. He has the camber, and Palmer that time knew. He knew that time he's no point fighting it. Talbot almost understood straight into the wall there. 8th place is William Levike. The gap between Strauss and Talbot is now 9.5 seconds again. Talbot is gaining in the latter half of the stint. Strauss is in a lot of traffic at the moment between Magnus, Churchill and Dobbing, trying to thread his way through all that. Lee Palmer into the pits. Talbot carries on. David Jones has carried on as well. Leitner, Flamo, Torborg and Strauss all carrying on. The gap's on 7.9 seconds as a result of all that. Strauss, will he pit this time around? Lee Palmer has got into the pits. Torborg is pushing so hard. He looks so aggressive here today. He wants that win. He really does. You can see it in the body language of his heart. Talbot up to 6th. It'll be around about a net 8th once all the drivers have made their pit stops. But Ilovanov, very pleased with where he is. He's in 8th, sorry. Lennon here is in 9th. Lennon's come out of the pits, has fresher tyres. Heavier car, of course, though. Strauss carries on. Strauss not coming to the pits. Torborg carries on also as well. On Ilovanov gone straight through the chicane. Ilovanov straight through the chicane. And he's let Lennon go past, though. So nothing gained there. Flamer, will he come to the pits this time around? No, Schlemer carries on also. Leitner, will he pit? Leitner does not pit also. 4 seconds behind Schlemer he is. So he's still fighting to get up with those guys. Here is Levi. Been lapped by Schlemer in the result of all these pit stops. David Junt is in 5th. We are now at the halfway point of this race. And here is Florian Strauss. He's the race leader. Leading from Jesper Talbot by 8.4 seconds. Jeff Dobbing's in 14th at the moment. And here comes Florian Strauss into the pits, it seems. Banging to the left-hand side. Slows the car down. No speeding, Florian. You've been pinged for that a couple of times this season. Doesn't seem to be a problem that time around. Will Torborg pit? No, Torborg goes longer once again. Torborg takes the lead of the race, of course, as well. Torborg, once again, just at the first stint, going a lot longer than Strauss. Perhaps that will pay off in the final stint, when his stint will perhaps be 4 or 5, maybe 6 laps shorter. Lemos also into the pits, just as Strauss is leaving. No, Strauss is not just leaving. Strauss is just pulling in, should I say. Here is Schlemo, trundling down the pit lane, just 40 Ks. Seems like an eternity. Leitner's in behind him. Talbot, will he pit this time around? We'll soon find out. Gunt has pitted, I believe. He must have pitted because he's now behind George Talbot. Has he made a big mistake somewhere? Just made a mistake perhaps because he's behind Talbot but ahead of Levaik. So, unless one of them made a mistake, we'll soon find out once the pit stops have gone through. Lennon almost in the wall at turn 1. He's already pitted, of course. Leitner's out of the pits. Strauss out of the pits also as well. Schlemo only just coming out of the pits now. Look at the big lead Strauss has over his teammate. And Schlemo is just leaving. And Strauss is going through the double chicane. Leitner right behind. Leitner coming out of the pits. Between those narrow lines. And feeds right in between Jeff Dobbing and Churchill. Oh, it's perfect for Leitner. Absolutely perfect. They parted ways in perfect timing for him. He would have been very pleased with that indeed. So Leitner continues his pursuit of 3rd place in this race, which is Tobias Schlemo. Well, Torborg has pitted, so Torborg into the pits. So he's only gone 1 lap longer this time around. Last time around he went at least a couple. And George Talbot has pitted as well, so Torborg and Talbot into the pits. Makes David Junt back into 5th. He's ahead of Levaik, so unless Levaik's made a mistake, I'm not sure what's quite happened there. No, David Junt can't have pitted yet because he was 1 lap down. He's now less than a lap down, so he must be pitting this time around. Torborg gets going once again. Strauss resumes the lead of this race. Led it from light to this point so far. Great start to the race. Fantastic laps early on, and has kept the gap between 7 and 11 seconds. Depending on traffic, really, ever since. Schlemo is in 3rd. 4th place is Leitner. Gap between Schlemo and Leitner is some 4.4 seconds. Doesn't seem like it can do anything about trying to close that gap down. And David Hunt carries on. David Hunt is not pitted just yet. Sixth place is William Levite. 7th place here is Gary Lennon. Livanov is now back down to 13th. Anders Nielsen going very, very slowly on track at the moment. Trying to get out of the way of all the leaders who are coming through. Palmer's now behind Adam Egbeer after the pit stop, so that's a position change there. Johnson is in the pits now. And Johnson into the pits. Fourth place in championship, of course, and has made that big mistake early on. Found himself a lap down, of course, a lap down on the drivers who was driving around, which were all those are now lap downs. He's almost 2 laps down, James Johnson. Result of all that. And James pits and comes out of the pits once again. Steve Davis passes him to take 11th. Florian Strauss is in the final part of the corner. The gap between Florian Strauss and Espitova, as you can see, is 10.3 seconds. David Hunt still not coming to the pits. Just behind him is William Levite. Levite gaining very, very quickly on David. Obviously David has second-hand tyres on there. 7th place is Lennon, 8th place is Egbeer, 9th place is Lee Palmer. So whatever happened at the pit stops, Egbeer overtook his teammate. Been entertaining us all afternoon, really. 10th place is George Talbot. Didn't Talbot get past both of those earlier also? So he's had a poor pit stop, a 22nd pit stop in fact. Did see that, so he's another 5 seconds longer than most of the drivers. Maybe even longer than that. Well, that's not helped him at all. Into the pits has come James Johnson once again, obviously for a drive-through. James Johnson with a drive-through. Anders Nielsen has left the game. Obviously a very happy time for him here today. Moving on this track, Lee Palmer continued to gain on Adam Egbeer. James Johnson, the torrid time here today, has had a drive-through now also as well, and an extra pit stop. And damage, of course. And he's stuck in behind with the drivers. Now is Lee Palmer right in behind Adam Egbeer, looking for a way past. More intimidating Egbeer through there than actually trying to make a serious move. Palmer's right in behind. Seems to have so much more grip than Adam here today. Oh, just as I say that, Lee makes a small mistake into that corner there and loses a little bit of ground. Jeff Dobbing recovered all the way up until 14th position. Of course, he was way down the field at one point earlier in the race. He had an early pit stop. At the same time, of course, Rick Coleman and Alexander Road had their pit stop. So Jefferson fantastically to fight his way back up through the field from 24th back up to 14th. He'll be pleased with that. Oh, and Egbeer makes a big mistake at the first turn, and he's going to be slow on X as well. He's going to let Lee Palmer go through. He's going to have to. Egbeer does let him go through. But Palmer is back ahead of his teammate. Nielsen with suspension damage apparently causing the end of his race. 9th place is George Talbot. He's behind these two DSC cars, despite the fact he got past both of them at one point. He'll be trying to fight his way back through. Levaik still in 5th position. His best finish. I think in the Touring Pro Series full stop actually, if he manages this, and in the World V8 Supercars as well, which is the most difficult of the Touring Pro Series leagues. Won't be able to tell here today because drivers have not had their A game. Found it very, very hard going on this street track. Not respected the track or the difficulties of it at all. As a result, we've seen plenty of carnage. Not always what we like to see. We'd like to see some crashes, but we'd like to see some quality driving also. We've seen some quality driving at the front of the field. It would be nice if the drivers were a bit closer together. And in here is in 6th. Covered well from his poor qualifying in 14th. Be very, very pleased going from 14th to 6th. Few drivers not sporting too much damage on his car. Driver not sporting any damage on his car at all is this driver here, Florian Strauss. Just been supreme at the front of the field. Torborg has not been far off his pace. Just not able to do anything about the German. Lamo has been very consistent also as well, but not had the speed at all here today. He will lead the championship still if the results stay as they are. Strauss will gain 21 points and reduce the 33-point deficit to 12 if the results stay as they are. Bob would gain just 9 points on Schlemo. That means the gap between him and Schlemo will still be over 100 points. Of course, there's plenty of time to go still in this race, of course, and in the championship. Sydney Park after this. Another street track. Palmer still leading, still pulling away. In fact, Lee Palmer's gaining on James Johnson ahead of him. Johnson's not ahead of him, just on the track. And there is George Talbot. In fact, George Talbot has one of the fastest laps of the race. With an 11.0 makes him the... In fact, I think that's the 5th fastest lap of the race so far. We've shown speed in bursts. Best lap of the race, Magnus and Rose has been a 14.0. Roy Magnus is 13.8. Miles off the best lap set by Florian Strauss, a 9.9. Here is David Yunt. He's in 9th. He's ahead of George Talbot now, actually. I'm confused by all that. Also come out of the pits ahead of George Talbot. Here is Adam Egbeer in 8th. 7th place Lee Palmer. 6th place Lennon. 5th Lev Ike. 4th here is Norbert Leitner. Not hitting the wall, just a little bit of lag there as he changed cars through. 3rd here is Tobias Schlemo. 2nd still is Jesper Torborg. He must be sick of being in that position. Been there all race long, able to do anything about Florian Strauss. Florian Strauss is 12.7 seconds ahead of the Danish driver, the 2 times TPS champion, Jesper Torborg, the AGTC and the ATCC. Strauss is making a move for his own championship here, it seems. Strauss's domination is underlined by the best lap stats. Strauss with a 9.954 fastest lap. Torborg fastest lap, 10.656 is next in line. Lemmo 10.7, Leitner at 10.9, and then George Talbot with 11.0. That's 7/10 of a second faster than anybody else. It is quite fantastic. Chris Sykes has the worst lap of the race, unfortunately, with 15.1. He only lasted, in fact, how many laps did Mr. Sykes last? Right, tell me, but he did 29 laps before he damaged his car so badly he could not carry on. Or struggling for pace and consistency. Florian Strauss is struggling for neither of those. The only thing he'll be struggling for is trying to get out of the car after this, because he'll have such a big head. He'll be fantastically pleased with his performance so far. And the gap between Schlemo and Leitner is 3.4 seconds. I really wish Leitner was catch up to Schlemo a bit faster, make it more exciting. He's just grinding away, attempt every 5 or 6 laps, it seems. And here is Egbeer and Yunt. And here is George Talbot. So all three of these are very, very close together. Here's the next big battle on track. This is for 8th position. Yunt was up into 6th at one point, made a mistake, dropped back down the field, and now he's back up to 9th. Talbot was ahead of both these DSC Motorsport cars before the pit stop, now behind them both, and David Yunt, of course. And George Talbot squeezing up the inside of David Yunt. Not quite able to do so. Palmer still leading this group. Adam Egbeer, sorry, leading this group. Very similar liveries, of course. Very easy to get them confused. Very nice liveries, in fact. Painted by Nicholas Cole for the DSC Motorsport drivers. Adam Egbeer had to rebuild his car, of course, after Oran Park, destroying his car. And George Talbot right around the outside of David Yunt. Never going to happen there. One place at track where you never make it around the outside. Now David Yunt's having a small look at Adam Egbeer, more trying to unsettle him rather than actually make a move. George Talbot's car in front of it looks quite mashed up. He's driving it pretty well at the moment. Marius Miervold is into the pits. Through the first turn, these three go. Lap 63. Yunt defending and attacking at the same time. He's in the worst position, really. The trees they go. What can Talbot do about Yunt? What can Yunt do about Egbeer? Someone's looked their wheels up just ahead of them. Who is that? Can't quite see who it was. Oh, Levike! Levike's in the wall. Levike's in the wall. Just off camera there. Levike in the wall in a bit of a confusion, I think, with Giuseppe Churchio. Marius Miervold has gone straight on also again for the umpteenth time today. It's defending here from George Talbot. Side by side into the corner they go. George is trying to outbrake him. Side by side they are. George going around the outside and taking the position from David Yunt. A fantastic bit of racing from all drivers there. Yunt just gave Talbot just enough space. Very, very fair indeed. And Talbot took advantage of all that. And that was a fantastic pass from George Talbot. Next on his list is Adam Egbeer. What can he do about him? Into the fast chicane they go. Right, left, and then left again. Not quite got the flow to there that he wanted. And Yunt's got to run back on George. Yunt diving down the inside. Oh, contact. Always going to be contact. They're into the wall they both go. Both into the wall quite hard. Have they got away with it though? They seem like they have. Yunt tried to squeeze down the inside. It was a do or die move, really. Trying to do to George what George did to him, I guess. George even more damage on the front of that Holden Commodore. Breaks down into the first turn. This is where Adam Egbeer has been struggling through here. Will Talbot have a look? Oh, Egbeer's out of shape on the brakes. Can Talbot get a run off the corner? He's going to try it. Who's going to be ahead at the marking zone? Whoever's ahead at a certain point has to yield. It's side by side. Talbot just about yields in time. And Egbeer goes through. Egbeer holds on to position just about. Here's David Yunt keeping a watching brief on all of that. Talbot seems to have much the better speed here at the moment. Get better as the tyres go on. Egbeer out of shape. Eggbert out of shape, locked up the tyres. Talbot around the outside again, around there, there's just no room. Talbot now having a look on the inside here, making Eggbert go in tight and making Eggbert get a bad exit and allowing Talbot to get the exit, and Talbot is through. Talbot's up into 8th position. Eggbert tried to fight back a little bit. Oh, Eggbert out of shape on the brake. He's going to go straight on or over the tyres. He's hit the tyres. He's going to allow David Yunt to have a run at him now into the hairpin. Eggbert defends very, very hard indeed. Around the outside goes David Yunt. Oh, and Eggbert's gone wide as well. Oh, both of them into the wall. Eggbert sideways. Who's going to be ahead at the next corner? And Eggbert is going to have to concede to David Yunt also as well. So Eggbert is down to 10th. David Yunt is in 9th. Oh, and Eggbert's just keep it together, son. Keep it together. He just about to do that. So Talbot has got ahead of now David Yunt. And look at the gap Talbot's pulled out on those two already after they were fighting. Palmer's in a very lonely 7th. Lennon is in 6th. William Leveig has just been lapped by Florian Strauss, so Strauss has lapped everybody up until 4th position. It really is phenomenal how he's been doing that. The way it's going, I don't think he'll be lapping Norbert Leitner after all. Not gaining enough time, which really Strauss has been on absolute fire here today. Some of the other drivers really need to look themselves in the mirror and consider their preparation for these events, because quite frankly many of them have just not been good enough at all. Egbert's into the pits. Very, very early pit stop for Adam Egbert. Going to have to do a full stop race now. Get to at least lap 74, I believe, before he can actually go a full stint. He has to do 34 laps now on a tank of fuel, which I don't think he can do. So whether that's an error or a strategic genius there from Adam Egbert, I'm not quite sure. He rejoins just next to one of the AGR motorsport cars. Is that Ruslan Barankulov? Or is it Alexander Rhodes? It is Ruslan Barankulov. He's in 17th. He's actually lapped down on Adam Egbert. He gets out of the way now, and Johnson's right in behind. Johnson's coming for a way through. Egbert wiggling the car around, not quite sure what for. Johnson goes straight through the inside there. He can't do that. That is completely against the rules set out in the briefing beforehand. Was Johnson ahead at the 150 metre mark? That is the question. Let's have a look. Egbert trying to wiggle his tyres to get through. Here is Adam Egbert. He was ahead at the 150 metre mark. Well, Egbert was still ahead at the 100 metre mark, never mind the 150. So Johnson will be in trouble for that also. Back to live action now. Johnson's disappeared from Adam Egbert. Probably felt it was justified the fact he had more speed, but of course, against the driver briefing. 9th place is David Yunt. 8th place is George Talbot. I'm trying to find more of a battle for you guys. Leitner is still a few seconds behind Schlemo, but a gap is actually just 1.4 now. So Leitner is gaining on Tobias Schlemo. Leitner's closing in. He wants another one of those podium positions. He already had 2 of them this season so far. And a 4th. The smooth style of Tobias Schlemo. Not enough at the moment to hold off Norbert Leitner, it seems. On board the Hungarian driver. How narrow this street circuit is. Oh, Leitner! Leitner straight on! Leitner straight on. Perhaps he's distracted by the lap car ahead of him, but he comes straight on. And there goes the gap that he's been trying desperately to close down. It's going to go straight back up once again. To around about probably 7, 8, 10 seconds. After all that hard work, thrown it all the way. Just 1.7 seconds behind Schlemo at the time. Now the gap will be much, much greater. Rouse is still leading dominantly from the rest of the field. Leitner crosses the line now. The gap between him and Schlemo is now 8 seconds. So that would seem the end of Leitner's charge up to Schlemo at the moment. One more pit stop to go, of course. Pit stop will come around about, say, lap 80. Oh no, Levike is into the pits already with 29 laps to go. In fact, he's only actually done 6. This is his 70th lap that he's completing. He has to go 31 laps on this final tank of fuel, which is optimistic, it would seem. Has to be one of the people to be pitting earliest. That will be a blessing if he's 1 lap down, in fact. He gives up that 5th position, he's not back down to 6th. Lee Palmer will come through and take 6th from him, I think. Here comes Levike out of the pits, accelerating at the point there. Through goes Lee Palmer, just about to take that 6th position. There we go. Oh, side-by-side! Leitner's in the wall! Levike is in the wall! Levike in the wall! How hard did he hit it? How hard did he hit it? He had no need to fight so hard for that position. Palmer was already on the track. Just had to lift off the grass just a little bit. He's not fighting with Lee Palmer. In fact, he's not fighting with anybody right around him. Did he damage the car badly, though? Didn't seem too badly, but will it affect any more mistakes later on in the stint? Take a look at that as it comes out of the pits. Comes out of the pit lane. Alongside with... Oh, he just carried too much speed through there. Not sure what he thought he could do with it. Out of the pit. Contact there with Lee Palmer. Of course, Lee was already on the limit of adhesion. And whack. Into the wall goes Levike. Not quite sure how hard he hit. Doesn't seem too hard. Maybe it will affect him later in the stint, as I was saying. Higher tyre wear. Perhaps he'll make another mistake as well because he has the damage. Whatever the case, he's down in 7th. Then a net 5th once the pit stops have cycled through. George Talbot is still in that 8th position. Davy Jones is not letting him get away though. You can see. On Egbeer out of the race. Oh, George Talbot hitting the curb extremely hard. This is going to make the run for David Young. Does David Young have enough of a run to take the corner away from Talbot? He does. David Young up to 8th. Big mistake there from George Talbot. On board with him. Hit that curb too hard, and then the next one as well slowed him right up. And soon you'll see David Young come flying through. There he is. Took the corner away from George also as well. Good driving there from the Swiss. Kept his head. Didn't get too excited. That's George back down to 9th. And Egbeer is out of the race. DNF. Not sure what's happened to him. I'll try and find out for you guys. There is confirmation of that. on Talbot, out of shape once again. As into the pits has come Lee Palmer. Not quite sure what's happened to Adam Eggbit. Tried to find out for you, but Lee Palmer has pitted on lap 73 of his. Lap 73. A couple of laps down now, of course. Got 28 laps to go. 26 laps to go, I guess. He exits the pit lane. Levaik is now back up into 5th. 6th place is David Junt. 7th place, George Talbot. Behind him now is Gareth Lennon. He's also pitted. When will the leaders pit? Leitner's not pitted this time around. Schlemo goes through also as well, of course. Arborg here is coming on to the end of his lap. Chris Strauss towards the final corner. Will he pit this time around? 55 laps to go from this point. And yes, he looks like he's pitting. Pulling to the side of the track, trying to slow the car down. Strauss, don't get pinged for speeding. And he doesn't. Like an eternity coming down these pit lanes. And Torborg, once again, doesn't come into the pits. He's going to go straight through. He takes the lead of the race. Torborg once again takes the lead of the race. Shamo, will he pit this time around? He's been pitting the exact same lap as Strauss each time around in these stints, and yes, exactly the same strategy. In comes Tobias, just about getting the car slowed down. Looked like a perfect slow down actually. And Leitner comes through. He's not pitting this time around. Strauss is just leaving the pits now. Flies out of the pits. Continues on with his race onto the final stint now. This is the home run for him, which keeps it together. Nice and consistent, nice and smooth. And he will be victory. He will have victory from this race, and all his hard work will have paid off. Be closer than ever to Schlemo in the championship. It's for Torborg now. He's coming into the pits now, so one lap after Strauss once again. Gets the car slowed down. Strauss will come through now and take the lead of the race very, very easily, it seems. Bubba comes to a halt. Changing both sides of the line, as you can see. Strauss goes through, takes the lead of the race just there. Torborg is still stationary in the pits. There he goes now. Torborg leaves the pits. Leitner's into the pits also as well. Can he have a good pit stop and put himself closer to Schlemo? Big question there. Torborg gets going. Strauss is already heading towards the double chicane. Pits also as well is George Talbot. Late once again. Here comes Schlemo. Here is Leitner leaving the pits. Someone's going to easily overtake Leitner, but what will the gap be after the pit stops? Will Leitner have gained anything on the championship leader? You probably no, because Leitner is still trundling down that pit lane. The third and final time here today. Levaik is in 5th. Can he go all the way though? This is the big question. Can Levaik go all the way? David Jones is in 6th. 7th place is Gary Lennon. Young's still not pitted. 8th place is Lee Palmer. He has pitted. 9th place is George Talbot. He has pitted, as you can see, just coming out of the pits now. Not really observing the pit exit. Tenth place is his sister teammate, in the sister team, should I say, and team boss, Steve Davis. Just about got the car slowed down for turn 1 then. Well done, Steve. 11th place is James Johnson. 12th place is Nikola Ilivanov. I think James still has to make one more pit stop. Jeff Dobbing is in 13th. I'll be very, very happy with that. 14th is Nervo. 15th is Churchio. 16th here is Barankolov. Ruslan having a very solid race here today. Seemed to make one big mistake early on. There's a bit of debris back there. Looks like actually part of Ruslan's car, perhaps. Maybe it was Alex's car. Here is Roy Magnus. He's in second last of the runners at the moment. 18th place is Alexander Rhodes. Missing the front of his car once again. That is Alexander Rhodes' part. It's stuck at the double chicane, I think. We're coming to repair it. No, he won't. But Eggbee retired from the race. So as Nielsen, Roding, Venari, Sykes, Eric Tveit, Cannon Blonde, Richard Coleman. Still in the lead of this race, and definitely not retired. Here's Florian Strauss. A 15.8 second lead now over Jesper Torborg after the pit stop. Fancied that the lead was extended, and indeed it was. Leitner is some 53 seconds behind Florian Strauss now. Not one lap, as it says on the plug-in there. 53 seconds behind. And if he makes any more mistakes, he will find himself lapped also as well. He's some 9 seconds now behind Tobias Schlemo, and it just seems that the challenge for the third position is pretty much over. The question is, can Levick go all the way and take that 5th position? When will Davy Young pit? Lennon, can he keep it together? Can he take advantage of the fact that Levick perhaps has made a strategic error? Lee Palmer, can he hold on 8th from George Talbot? Got a big gap actually. Say yes is the answer. Lee Davis is in 10th. Way behind his teammates. There is Davy Jones, still not pitted from 6th position. When will he do so? And where will he rejoin if he does? Really pit soon, doesn't want to use tyres while everyone around them is using fresh ones. Have a shorter stint, but you don't want to get undercut too much, else you end up having to pass people once again. As we've seen, it can be quite difficult at this track. Young pit this time around. Out of the final corner. Look like he's doing so. He carries on. Young coming for a very, very short lap. Last stint. Mike is in 5th. Lennon is in 7th. Round about 20 seconds behind Levick. Here is Levick going towards the double chicane. Here is Lennon coming to the first corner. Palmer is some way behind Gary Lennon, as you can see. Palmer just about to start his lap, while Lennon is way around track. The double chicane. Let's talk about the championship lead here at the moment. Found himself and his teammate outclassed really at the Phillip Island event. Lost 24 points in that race to his teammate Florian Strauss. He'd been pulling a big lead out before that. The races previous, finish ahead of Florian Strauss in all of those. Ahead of Florian Strauss at Oran Park, Eastern Creek, Pukekohe. Time Strauss won. Time from the Phillip Island event was back at Hidden Valley, his only single driver win of the season so far. Schreiner, of course, was alongside him for his win at Phillip Island. Although Strauss's stint at Phillip Island was one of the best, was probably actually the best drive of the season so far. It was a season highlight. Absolutely drove away from the rest of the field. It was fantastic stuff. Davy Jones, let's see if he pits this time around. And Davy Hunt does pit this time around. Davy Hunt comes into the pits. He gives up that 6th position. Lennon goes past him. Where will Lee Palmer get ahead of him? He's going to be close. He's going to be close. Lee Palmer going down the track now. Last time Lee Palmer went past somebody who was coming out of the pits, it resulted in contact with William Levyke. There is Davy Hunt, and Palmer takes the position. Palmer's up to 7th. Davy Hunt is in 8th. Where is George Talbot, though, of course? This is close also as well. Davy Hunt is rejoining there. He's just exited turn 1, while George is just entering turn 1. So Davy Hunt up to 7th. Here's James Johnson. He's in 10th. Somehow. 11th place is Nikolai Livanov. 12th place is Steve Davis. 13th place is Jeff Dobbing. Mivol 14th. Giuseppe Churchill 15th. Ranklov in 16th. Magnet 17th, and the last runners at the moment is Alexander Rhodes in 18th. He just made a final pit stop to repair his car. His car looks very pretty once again. And that's the rest of the drive. That's the final of the runners. This is Strauss just clipping the wall ever so slightly there. Uncharacteristic for Strauss in this race. He's got just 16 laps to go before he confirms his victory. Got a 16-second lead on Tolbog. He really has been fantastic here today. So just some stories on the retirements from the race. It seems Richard Coleman had got into somebody on the formation lap, and then he got damage also as well. It was a handful for the first 12 laps. So you definitely say that, we could see that, and he decided to call it a day after he'd lapped for the 5th time. Shannon Blonde unfortunately had a runtime error freeze. Had a few of those. Poor guy cannot seem to get a break. Fantastic result at Phillip Island. But apart from that, he's had great difficulty lately. So some good speed here today. Like that contact he had early on, the incident he had early on with Alexander Rhodes, looked like he was set for a decent result. Unfortunately, that has not come to fruition for him. And also, Yara Vinari decided to retire from the race, experiencing a bit too much physical pain. So hopefully you get well soon, Yari. Don't like to hear that from drivers. That's why he parked the car earlier on. Decided to quit from the race. You're back to fighting fitness, or as close to fighting fitness as you can be soon, Yari. Just a fantastic effort for the Touring Pro Series. I know the series as well, of course, in creating highlight videos for them. Tireless work that he does, and it's massively, massively appreciated by all. Of course, sometimes don't get a bit too much. Yari, unfortunately, is out of this race. I hope to see him back soon at the Sydney Park event in 2 weeks' time. One driver we will see at the Sydney Park event is Florian Strauss, as he continues to try and win this championship. Despite the thousands of points that he's scored in this championship, it's still extremely close. We're down to 11 points after 10 rounds of the championship. Many, many kilometres. Leitner is still in 4th. Levaik is still in 5th. Can he make it to the end? That's the big question. 6th place is Lee Palmer. He'll be very, very, very pleased with that indeed. Where is Lennon gone? Gary Lennon is in 9th position, and I've got no idea why he's in 9th. Has he had to make a pit stop, an extra pit stop? A big gap. A 2-minute lap and a 1:28 lap 83. Just slower than even his pit stop lap, so Gary's made a mistake somewhere and had a pit, I believe. Try and find out for you on my own replay. Looks like he's got plenty of damage to the front of his car. Whatever the reason for it, he's now down to 9th. He was in that strong 6th. Oh, almost wiped it out against the wall there as well. Lee Palmer's able to 6th. That would be his best result of the season by far. He'll be chuffed a bit with that. Yes, Lennon did have to make another pit stop. He had to repair damage in this pit stop. A drive-through. It was definitely an actual stop. Not quite sure what's happened to him then, because he's made a mistake into the left-hander after the double chicane and hit the wall pretty hard a couple of times. Decided to come to the pits and repair it. Quite an innocuous incident. Maybe an incident before that. He's pushing very, very hard at the moment on track, as you can see, through that double chicane. Not leaving anything the chance. Well, he's leaving everything the chance, I guess, but he's not leaving anything behind. That's for certain. Back in 9th. Palmer's way ahead of him now. Palmer's not too far behind David Junt. Palmer has a good lead on those guys. Levaik is still in 5th. Well, can he make it on fuel? Can he make it on fuel? Big question. Another story behind one of the DNFs. Eric Tveit hit one of the tyre bundles. That caused the end of his race. Can't say it's very surprising. But better late next time, Eric. And George Talbot, I think he made a mistake there. George Talbot's making a mistake. He did indeed make a mistake. Just coming... Oh. And way around he went. What on earth happened there? Round the corner, and round she goes. And had to drive backwards into the escape road and get going once again. George gets going again. He's still in 8th. He doesn't have quite such a lead. Oh, he's still got quite a healthy lead over Gary Lennon. It's now in a lonely 7th. Everyone's been a bit lonely at the moment. Not very exciting on track. Palmer's in 6th. Levaik is really the main bit of excitement at the moment. Will he make it to the end? Leitner has brought the gap down to 5 seconds between him and Schlemo, so perhaps that's not over with either. We have just 10 laps to go now. 90% of the race is done. Drivers will be hurting. It will be worth it in the end if you get a good result. Drivers have been soldering on. Drivers like Magnez and Rhodes have had difficult races, but they've soldiered on. Seen it through right to the end. You only have credit for that. Oh, Levesque! Oh, he's over and over. He's got back on his wheels again. He might have got away with that. He didn't seem to hit the wall very hard. Levesque. Perhaps that was caused by continuing damage to that front end that he had in the contact with Lee Palmer. But whatever, that was a spectacular accident that we just caught there. See it replay once again. Levesque. Into the corners he comes, flicks one, just a bit too hard to hit the next tyre bundle, flips him over and over and over. Phenomenal that he actually got back on the track without too much damage, just clipped the wall slightly. Very, very lucky indeed. Like that and see it from on board. With Levesque, the poor guy. Through he comes, flicks it through, knows he's made a mistake, oh, it just topples him over. Over and over he goes. Disorientated for a second it seems. It's going once again. Didn't lose too much time either, really. His drama is, can he make it to the end on fuel? There's a massive lead, of course, in Lee Palmer. There is Levesque, in the double chicane. And here's Lee Palmer not even starting his lap yet, so goes to show he's got a big, big gap. You don't need to really push that hard. It's lack of concentration, of course. Drivers will be feeling very fatigued at the moment. Racing for over 2 hours. Oh, just under 2 hours actually. Just under 2 hours it's been. Got just 8 laps to go. They need to keep their focus together. Right, and claim that 5th place. Reminder, by the way, that on Wednesday night, World Touring Masters continues, the 3rd season. Your Wednesday night entertainment is back after a great race at Spa, which saw Toby Davis absolutely dominate the field, and Chris Butcher take an excellent 2nd place, his best result, in fact, in the World Touring Masters since he started racing in Season 1. Gregory de Grief took 3rd, Strauss was in 4th, with Torborg in 5th in that race. It's Spring next, which is very much a power track, so drivers of the slower cars will be struggling slightly. We'll see the Sierras, the Holdens and the Nissans dominate there, I would expect. Catch that live from around about 8 o'clock GMT on Wednesday night. World Touring Masters from Spring, the 2nd round. 4 rounds either side of Christmas this year. 3rd round goes to Virginia International Raceway. 4th round to Salzburg Ring. 5th round to Norris Ring. 2 sprint events, those ring events, Salzburg Ring and Norris Ring. Levesque, keep your focus, Levesque. He's going to have to pit. He's pitting. He is pitting. He's not going to be able to make it on fuel. Oh, he's going to speed in the pits as well. He's speeding in the pits also, it seems to me. That looked like a speeding in the pits. And this is going to allow Lee Palmer the chance to come through. Lee Palmer's way around the back of the track, actually. If Levesque hasn't sped in the pits, he might even keep the position. Here is Lee Palmer. What has he got for Levi? Does he know that Levi's in the pits? Levi pits and come out once again. Lee Palmer's not even got to the last corner yet. Here he is, around the last corner. Looks like he's pushing quite hard. Levi is about to leave the pits now, but did he speed in the pits? We'll soon find out. He gets going. Puts it in the pit exit. Lee Palmer has not been able to take advantage of that. So unless Levi sped in the pits, which we'll soon find out if we see him go back through the pits once again, then Lee Palmer's not able to take that 5th position. Levi has done an extra pit stop over everybody else here. Not quite sure why that is. Not quite sure why he couldn't go an extra couple of laps in each of those stints. Too much fuel, obviously, but a lot more fuel than everybody else. What will he do this time around? Will he come into the pits for that drive-through? Did he speed, is the question. Looked like to me that he did. Did he do it by too much? Did the game give him enough leniency? It's not very lenient in this league. What will be the answer? Not coming to the pits this time around. Of course, he can come in the next couple of laps, but maybe he got away with it. Maybe he got away with that speeding. Maybe he didn't speed at all, of course. Didn't speed at all. Didn't get away with anything, of course. Did it perfectly, but to me, it looked like he sped in the pits, and looked like he's just about got away with that. Lee Palmer's in 6th still. He'll be very, very happy with that. To pieces. Had a difficult season in the World V8 Supercars. And an 18th in the championship. Didn't finish the first 3 rounds. A good round though at Phillip Island. Bagged a few points there. He did receive a penalty later on though for chatting, but never mind. Into the pits again to come Alexander Rhodes with more damage. Going to be more than 11 laps down at this rate. Well, he is at the moment. Strauss going to come through and put him in 12th lap down, I believe. Strauss is starting his 97th lap. 8th lap, sorry, should I say. He's done 97 laps so far. He's got 4 laps to go. Levi has not pitted this time around either, so clearly not seem like he's been penalised. Something just occurred to me. Maybe the bike stopped in the pits earlier to uncheck repair damage in his pit menu. I wonder if that's the reason for why he stopped in the pits earlier. Just making sure he didn't get penalised 40 seconds for repairing cosmetic damage. That could be a possibility. Remember, earlier in the race, he stopped in the middle of the pit lane for a few seconds. Perhaps he's just sorting out, making sure that he did his pit stop properly. Better to waste a couple of seconds there than waste 40 seconds sat in the pits while the game repairs damage that does not need to be repaired, I guess. And Barankolov has now retired from the game as well. On lap 90 of his. He will be classified, of course. If you do 75% of the race, you get classified. He will lose his 16th position. Roy Magnus will take his 16th position. It remains to be seen whether Rhodes will take his 16th position away from him. I don't think he will. Not enough laps for Rhodes to make up the laps that he's behind his teammate. So Barankolov will finish in 17th. He'll be classified there and score points, of course. Leitner there is still in 4th. Gap between him and Schleimo is 4.2 seconds. Here is Tobias Schleimo. He's the championship leader. He'll remain the championship leader as well, but he will have his championship lead almost completely cut Strauss will just be 11 points behind after this event. If he continues to finish where he is right now, he's on lap 100, his penultimate lap. That's Bradley Strauss now, who's put on a masterful performance here today. Absolutely masterful. It will be his third win of season. One of those wins alongside Michael Schreiner at Phillip Island. His win before that was at Hidden Valley. He'll match his teammate for wins. 360 Racing taking 6 wins of the 10 rounds this season, therefore. Matt Farrow and John Wilson taking 1 win each. Ben Crooks taking the other 2. And now Strauss begins his final lap of the race. He'll be very, very thankful and possibly relieved as well as delighted by his performance here today. Keeps it nice and tidy through turn 1. It's a 20-second lead. He can afford to coast from here. Wave to the crowds if he needs to. Do a couple of donuts. Drop off for tea. Cup of tea and still win the race, it seems. Tolborg has fought very, very hard today. He's been excellent, but Strauss has just had that little bit extra. In the preparation, it's all paid off. He's coming strong on this home stretch of the championship. Lamo has to be worried. There's 2 rounds to go, and just 11 points separate the top 2. Tolborg 100 points back, but of course there are plenty of points on offer. Still, 450 after this race. So Tolborg is not completely out of championship yet, and he will fight to the very last. That is in his nature. Fights all the way. And Strauss comes out to the final corner. He's coming to the line now. He's going to weave in delight. He's going to be absolutely shattered, but fantastically delighted. The feeling of satisfaction inside that car will be fantastic. He crosses the line. Florian Strauss is the winner at Surface Paradise. Stops the car. Going to do a couple of burnouts below the trees. Does a couple of donuts. There's Levaik. He finishes in 5th position. Shows how dominant Strauss was. Only 4 drivers finishing on the lead lap. Tolborg, fantastic effort. Really, really was. But not quite able to take the fight to Strauss completely. Well done to him. 3rd place is going to be Tobias Schlemo. Here comes Tobias. He will continue to lead the championship, but he's under real threat from Florian Strauss, and to a lesser extent, yes, with Tolborg as well. This is really the day where James Johnson's ambitions for the championship came to an end. He's had too much difficulties. 3rd place, Schlemo. 4th place, Norbert Leitner. An excellent result again for the Hungarian driver. With several podiums and 4th place positions throughout the season so far. Not quite able to challenge for that win, but fantastic result for him. 5th place is Levesque. 6th place is Lee Palmer. We're delighted with that. Excellent result for him. Another excellent result also for David Young. Solid result for George Talbot. Doing a few burnouts. He'll be pleased to see the end of this race. 2 laps down. Look at that. 10th place. 9th place, James Johnson. He got past Gary Lennon in the end. 10th place, Lennon. 11th place, Steve Davis. 12th place, Ilovanov. 13th place, Jeff Dobbing. He'll be pleased with that. He fought back through from the back of the grid. 24th he was. Doing plenty of donuts with his mate there, Giuseppe Churchill. Churchill was 15th. Meervold was 14th. Magnes came in 16th position. And that's actually the rest of the contenders it classified. But 17th was Bramklov and 18th was Alexander Rhodes. Thank you for watching. Been a very strenuous event for the drivers, I would say there, for this event. Not being a classic by any means, but it had its moments. Plenty of incident to talk about there, and a fantastic win for Florian Strauss. Just 2 rounds to go now in this championship, which started back in April. So it has been a mammoth year for these drivers. 3rd of December is the final race, but 2 weeks' time we go to Sydney Olympic Park for the events there, and we will see whether Strauss can continue his charge on his teammate Schleimo to take this championship. It's been a very exciting championship overall, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you for watching.